While we're waiting on people to join, I see Dr. Pernick's here. I'm just going to take a moment and I want everyone to just think about where we were this time last year. And I'm going to play something that is really extraordinary from last night. So let's see if this will work computer-wise. If everyone can see that. So just take a second and enjoy 15 seconds of Schreiber's Orchestra. So that was short, but I just think that it's worth sharing because this is the first time in almost 2 years they've played live. So that just brought me to a place of reflection where think about what we were doing this time last year. This time last year, our kids weren't in school. We didn't have, athletes weren't playing sports. There was just, I think the HSA meeting was hosted by a psychologist because there was just, it was a different time. And I just wanted to take a second and really appreciate where we are now, because last night was so beautiful. The orchestra played at the opening of the Board of Education meeting. If you missed it, you can see the full 5 or 6 minutes and 30 seconds piece on the YouTube page or Instagram or Port Washington Arts. But it's just such a spectacular thing that this community comes together, and we made it through this crazy period of time, and we're still making it through this crazy period of time, but we're doing it from a place of art and heart. And I really appreciate all the administration and all the parents who contribute to that. So thank you. So with that, I'm Kathy Riva Bloomgarden, if you haven't met me, and it takes a village to make anything happen, especially these amazing things, but the volunteers really are the heart of this community. And I just want to introduce everybody. So I have a 9th grader. She's loving Schreiber right now, but I wouldn't be able to be in this position without my co-president, who's way more experienced and has so much more wisdom than I could ever have in like a little teacup, Adrienne Kane. I just want to say hello to her and thank you for being my co-partner in this crazy thing that we're in together. And I'll let her talk in a second because she's going to actually represent the parent council in a few minutes. But I want to give everyone else on the committees a quick chance to give an update. So what happens at Schreiber behind the scenes? We have so many committees. There's so many really great things. So Dawn, if you have a second, we can update. She's the co-chair of Gamble, which is the prom for you 9th grade parents who aren't familiar with that. Something to look forward to. But she's generously volunteered her time to help raise money, and it is a fundraising celebration. So Dawn, take it away with all the updates.
Did I really volunteer? No, I'm kidding. I did. So I'm John Andrew. I'm on the HSA executive board, and this is my last year. It's been a long time. So I have a daughter's 25. I have 2 other Schreiber graduates. They're older, and Michael's my little one. So he's graduating this year. And the Gamble is, for those of you who haven't been through the whole Gamble thing, it's so amazing. It's a whole year of fundraising, planning, every kind of meeting, creativity. We start from scratch. It's at the Sands Point Preserve in the castle, and people at work who are all over the country, they make fun of me. They're like, you're not particularly bougie, but when you talk about your prom, we're rethinking our relationship. I'm like, it's what it is. So it really is a special night. We're having our first fundraiser this Friday night, and one of the parents of Springs generously donated their very big backyard. We have cornhole, drinks, snacks. It's $40 per person. We're really trying to be mindful of everybody's comfort level with all the restrictions and how things are going. So we're really taking this one day at a time. We have 56 so far volunteers. I have a working Google Doc that lives on the Facebook page. Chat me or message me or email me if you're not on Facebook. We have a Halloween party coming up at Chateau Briand. That's Silvana and a few other people. That's October 27th. The details are on the Facebook page. It's also in the HSA newsletter and pretty much everywhere. And that's pretty much, we have a lot of really fun things going on. It's just going to take a minute to really kind of assess what we're physically doing, because we do have people running the different events. And again, like everybody's comfort level is different. We're really trying to be creative. So stay tuned. That was a lot. I can take a breath now. Thank you though. Thanks for everybody for your support, because it's, I don't know how the people did it last year. I mean, we saw it evolving and changing, and hats go out to them because it's hard. So it'll be fun though.
Thanks, Don. It will be fun. And we do stand on the shoulders of giants who've come before us, for sure. Like all those people who kind of created the legacy. This is the 68th year the Gamble's been, I mean, maybe minus last year, but this is every year since 1953. I think it's been an institution now in our town as a celebration of coming together of kids. I think it originally started, I researched this online, that said that parents in 1953 wanted a place for their kids to go because they were kind of getting into trouble, and they just wanted like a celebration and a focal point for them to look forward to, so they weren't kind of meandering about. In 1953, how cool is that? So Dawn, thanks for carrying.
It's such a cool night. Like even the years I don't have a senior, I volunteer, so there is opportunity just to watch the expression on the kids' faces who get out of their car and walk down the red carpet, like, and then to walk in and because they don't know the theme, they don't know anything. Some of them have now, you know, how many people have been in a castle, and just to watch their faces when they walk out, and I don't even think they can envision unless they have an older sibling. It's unbelievable. So to do it, it's like a little overwhelming, but it'll be fun. And before I hand it off, I need to give props to Kathy and Adrian, because they're new. Let me just, we never have two new co-presidents, and because of circumstance, we have two new co-presidents. So Kathy's new to Schreiber. Adrian, Schreiber's different.
It's been around the block.
No, but it's different. Like it's different. So thank you both for stepping up, because like really thank you. So everybody have a little patience with us all because we're all doing this, and it takes a village. So thank you both for stepping up and stepping in, and namaste.
We all need the peace. We'll take it, Dawn. Thanks.
Absolutely.
And Mary, are you on? Do you want to unmute yourself and give an update from your neck of the woods? Mary Apat is in charge of our nutrition committee. Thank you, Mary.
Sure. So my name is Mary Apat. I'm the Schreiber rep for the nutrition committee, and I'm happy to report, first and foremost, that all of last year we offered free breakfast and free lunch for all the students in the district, and we're continuing that again this year. So I encourage your children to take advantage. I think it's a very generous offer from the district to be offering that. So I just wanted to let parents know that that is still available all this entire school year, in case you didn't know. So nutrition committee is also happy to report that even though last year was a difficult year, we were able to participate in Food Day, which is a local produce collection. And our local food pantries, Our Lady of Fatima, St. Peter's, and the Port Washington Senior Center were able to benefit from the fresh fruit and vegetable collection. And I mean, I have pictures from that. I know we posted those. So we're so happy to report that even though Food Day is on Sunday, October 24th this year, we've decided to host it in our district on Tuesday, October 26th. That way it gives a chance for parents to be reminded, either the students be reminded with morning announcements the day before, leading up to the event. And we'll be starting collection around 7 a.m. I need to get clearance from the principal, assistant principals on that, at Schreiber in front of the entrances, and you'll let me know where we're allowed to collect. We'll have bins, and again, this is a great event. I know my kids, all their friends love participating, and even if you forget, you can bring it in the next day. We'll have a collection box, and I'll deliver it myself to one of the local pantries. And then in March, last year we did not have a Nutrition Week, but we do hope to have some type of representation of Nutrition Week, whether it's just on the menu in the cafeteria for that week, again, the Schreiber students are not as into it. Elementary school kind of goes all out with that, but I can keep you posted on that at another meeting. So that's all I have to say. Any questions for me? I'll try to handle them.
Yeah, I had a question. I was just curious, how come the food is free now? I think it's great. I'm just curious why.
You know, that's an interesting question, and I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I think I do think, again, maybe Dr. Pernick can contribute on, how, in the budget, we're able to do that, but that is a very generous offer. And I know we're working with Aramark. Adrian, do you know the answer to that question?
I do actually. Last year and this year, I'm just gonna put my hand down. It's a federal mandate, and the state picked it up, and the state, I believe, pays for it or reimburse the district for it. But it's not a BOE meeting, so we're not going to go there. But yes, it's a larger than us, but we are choosing to participate, and yay us. Does that make? Last year it was on the federal level. This year it's on a state level, and the governor have, depending on which governor you're talking about, the governors of New York State have approved it. So
okay, thank you, Adrian.
You're welcome.
Thanks. That was really interesting and so grateful. Thank you, Mary, for all that you're doing to keep our kids insides healthy. And so since Talia asked the question, Talia, do you just want to say hi? You're the on the executive board, and so grateful for your wisdom and accounting.
Sorry, let me unmute myself. Sure. Hi, I'm Talia. I'm the treasurer of the HSA executive on the executive board. I have a freshman, freshman, and I just had a senior last year who graduated. Schreiber is a fantastic place, and my kids have been both very happy and had wonderful experiences. I was a treasurer also at Daly for a long time, so I've definitely been around the block in that respect. It's a little different at Schreiber because the lion's share of the finances are actually related to Gamble, which is sort of like a side thing that's not quite underneath the HSA financial thing. So I sort of deal with more of like the actual HSA finances, just so that everybody knows. But in any event, I think I also would like to second the fact that Adrian and Kathy have done an amazing job picking up, things from, it's never happens that you have a complete leadership vacuum that you have to fill, and everything has to be refigured out. And not only are they like stepping in and moving things along, but they're coming up with new ideas and like really, really, really progressive things. And it's fantastic to see. So I feel like we're in really good hands. And it's just been a pleasure working with them. I mean, I haven't done too much so far this year with them, but what I have done has been a pleasure. That's it.
Thanks, Tanya. Less is more. And then I think we just have a few more committee updates and safety and substance. This is so exciting. On the 20th, you're going to the senior parents and all the parents have their kids meet outside one of the Schreiber fields at 3:15, and they're going to wear their orange shirts. I'm going to put up let's see if I can share the picture of the Unity Day shirts, because this is worth actually talking about. Back in June, sorry, you're now getting the view of everything I work on. Back in June, Nick Schrottweiser asked for student ideas to design t-shirts. So this t-shirt design is from a Schreiber student. And how cool is it? It's a heart that has the words "be kind" on it. So if you didn't get your orders in, they may or may not have any extra, but you'll be getting your delivery sometime in the next few days. So your kids can wear them October 20th. And it's going to be a really special picture and just a really great day to celebrate the community and all of the togetherness that we are trying to promote this season, especially after the last, 18 months or 20 months. So everyone be on the lookout, find something orange, put your kid in it, and send them off to school at whatever grade that level they're in, please. And then I think that's the last community update or committee update we have. But I will just say on behalf of the HSA, we do have some exciting news. We have, I'm going to set the stage really quickly. How many of you guys in the morning have ever been like, whatever, maybe your kids are not getting out of bed, maybe they're running around, maybe your mornings are crazy. You're looking for something on the Portnet website and you're like, oh, if I could just know what letter day it was. Oh, where's the football schedule? So I've had this experience. So we are creating at the HSA, with your help, a new website on Membership Toolkit that's going to have all those links in one place. one home for all the stuff that the administration does, which is amazing. It's going to live in one home. So you'll be able to just, oh, where is the calendar today? You'll be able to find it. So I'm really excited about that. However, in order to make that happen, we need donations. And this year they're down a little bit because I'm new and I don't think I sent out the correct paperwork earlier. But basically, we're looking for people to pay their $25 dues. It's a PayPal link I'll put in the chat. And you can just spread the word. It's, if you have a chance to donate, we'd really appreciate it. Whatever amount feels comfortable. And it goes to all these amazing things that not just this updated website, but it goes to some of the clubs. We get to support them and all their endeavors and a lot of the other administrative things like teacher breakfasts or any kind of appreciation things that we do. This is where parents really help out. So thank you for that in advance.
Yeah, and can I just add one thing that oftentimes those dues are really collected on open house. And as we know, having a remote open house makes that a lot harder. So definitely we should check in with our past president because I think she sort of figured out some good workarounds last year and see if we can I don't think it's too late at all to fix that because people just don't remember. If they're not asked, they're be like, well, no one asked me, so why would I bother? Like, I don't think I paid my dues. So I think we just need to remind everybody.
Right, just to chime in, because I did that last year, and last year was really hard because the kids weren't in school. No one was really thinking about, so we did a few pushes and we had we had a few different ways, but I really I definitely think we can collect the dues, especially when we remind people it's really the only income that we have, unless we want to go down the road and do some other things, but it's worked out really well. And I don't think people really realize that we do get a lot of requests that we don't turn down. And I've been on this board for, I don't know, a long time. And especially during COVID, it's anything we needed to support the classrooms, anything we needed that was outside the box. I mean, we definitely don't want to say no if we have it, and teachers are comfortable coming to us and asking us for additional learning tools and whatever. I mean, we're not spending money blindly. I think that the requests are very thoughtful, so we don't want to be in a position where we have to say no. I don't want people to think we're in dire straits as an organization, because we're not, but the only reason we're able to do what we do is because of the membership dues, and some people are very generous and go above and beyond. So really any amount's comfortable, but we can talk offline about some of the communication that we did last year, because I did a lot of that outreach. So now I'm going to shut up again, but thank you.
No, amazing. Thanks, Dawn. And then Adrian, is it okay if I give it to you to hand up over the parent council responsibilities? I've got all the information ready to show if you are open.
Oh, you have a slide? That's awesome.
I do. I've got it together. I have the sign up genius link because we need volunteers. I'm putting the sign up genius link in the chat, and then you can
awesome.
take it away.
Okay, so first, I think, well, if you don't know me, hi, I'm Adrian Kane. I have twins who are juniors. Okay, that's all I'll say about that. I've been in the district for a while, and I've been around the block, as they say. Most recently, I was the senior co-president of Parent Council, and that's why I'm uniquely qualified to give this little bit of an update. And I am honored to be co-president with Kathy. She's incredible, and we really lucked out. So, love you, Kathy. And we didn't really know each other before, so it's also a wonderful thing. Anyway. You caught me in a good mood. So the district winter coat drive, here's the flyer. For those of you who are new to the district or new, everyone knows that we couldn't do it last year. We do it every year. Parent Council administers it on behalf of the district. And what we need from the Schreiber community is donations. Your students can bring in donations, coats and winter clothing. Please, nothing with logos or any kind of personalized, Smith family vacation, 2022 or 2019, anything like that. Nothing personalized, because when it's distributed to families in need, they're not part of the Smith family, vacation, and it's just easier if it's unbranded. The bins will be in the main lobby inside school, since visitors to the school are limited I believe Dr. Pernick will back me up on that. We don't want everybody just walking into school randomly to wind their way through, especially since we don't have a main entrance right now, just to drop off the donations. So if you can package them up and give them to your student, there'll be one giant bin in the main lobby that clearly says winter coat and clothing drive. Every morning, that bin will be cleared out and brought over to the pool. We don't need volunteers for that because that's covered, but we do need volunteers for our spots. We have 2 spots and they are Friday afternoon. You can see that in the sign up Genius. Friday afternoon between 1:30 and 4 p.m. and Saturday morning. So I apologize. It's Friday afternoon. It's next Friday, October 22nd from 1:30 to 4, and Saturday, October 23rd from 8:45 to noon. And those 2 times are primarily distribution times to the public. So no children are allowed. No one under 18 is allowed. We just need your time. And if you can't come for the whole time, just come for an hour. Anything you can do will help. During our 2 times, it'll primarily be tidying up, folding, just putting stuff back if someone asks where the different sections are for children or men or women. That's what our volunteers will be doing. However, if you cannot make it on Friday or Saturday morning, please feel free to sign up for any other time that says there are several sections that say Manor Haven parents and anyone who can help. Because when it comes down to it, we just need the hands. And the reason for that the elementary schools get the in-between school day times is basically that. If they have children in small children in school and they need them there, that's why they're primarily scheduled during the week. But we are also welcome. If you see there are spots available at this point, feel free to take it because it starts tomorrow and all hands on deck. I guess I've run everything. Anybody have any questions? Awesome. Love when there are no questions. That means I've done everything right. Well, it's the first time all day, but
And then wait, on October 27th, Parent Council is doing a community event. So save the date, October 27th, they're doing an event to promote well-being in the community. And it's going to be really exciting because we have some teens speaking. So Schreiber teens or Schreiber graduate teens. Anyway, so that's on October 27th. So please save the date for that evening virtual community session. And I think, Dr. Pernick, thank you for being so patient and kind of hanging out for the last 20 minutes. We have him, a beautiful thank you for being ahead of this administration. And we wanted to give a chance for any of the parents to talk about how the first month and a half of school is going. How are things, especially compared to last year, right? So Dr. Pernick, if you're still on,
I'm here.
you want to introduce and
Good morning.
say a few
Good morning.
words?
Sure. Good morning. I'm Ira Pernick. This is my 11th year as principal here at Schreiber. I feel like I've been working with Dawn for all 11 years. I think that's possible, which I think is a record for Dawn. That's amazing. Anyhow, I am interested in hearing from everybody else a little bit more about me. Like you, I'm a parent. I have a 21-year-old son and a 17-year-old daughter who is a senior in her high school. So for those of you that are parents of seniors, I'm navigating this world at the same time that you are. And, I think it gives you a little different insight into what everyone else is managing. I've spent a career working with other people's children, and well, that's frankly a lot easier than working with my own. So thanks for that. What a change from last year at this time to this year. It's a remarkable change, and it requires some adjustments. I'll give you an example. I visit 2 to 4 classes a day as part of our observation process. I do that every single year. I'll see about 100 teachers in the course of a year. Again, this is part of an evaluation process. Last year I sat in classrooms that had as few as 3 students in it. And it distorts your view a little bit. And so I'm back in classrooms that have 25, 28, 30 students in them, and they feel incredibly crowded. Whereas when I try to step myself back 2 years in time, I wouldn't have felt that they were crowded at all. That was what I normally would have experienced. And so it takes some adjustments. Couple that with our construction, which is, just an inconvenience. It is a little bit challenging, but it is refreshing to hear the noise and the heartbeat of the school back where it had been, right? When the hallways are crowded, while that is a reason to be concerned at times, it also brings life to the building. Last year, at times, it really felt like we were here alone, which didn't feel good at all. And so this is significantly better. No year comes without its challenges along the way. I write each week asking for help with working with your kids, keeping masks on appropriately. I spend most of my days now asking students to wear their masks properly. We are going through masks here at an alarming rate. We have already used and given out more masks to students this year than we did all year last year. I'm being asked, why do I think that is? And I have just a couple of theories. One is, I think more people are using surgical masks, even at home, rather than their own personal masks. Last year, a lot of people had personal masks. I have my own personal masks. We see much more surgical masks. I think a lot of people view those as, especially students, as disposable. They immediately come off, all of our faces when we exit the building. And so if you have your own personal mask, you put that in your pocket. But if you have a surgical mask that you got from the office or you grabbed from home right before you left for school, it might not get as well taken care of. I think that's part of the reason. And I think just that we have all of our students back is another reason why we are going through masks at such an alarming rate. Nothing for us to do about it except get more masks, and we'll continue to do that. I don't know that there's a messaging piece here other than to say, we use a lot of masks, and getting kids to wear them appropriately. I'm not the person who thinks that students are deliberately, thumbing their nose at authority. I don't think that's the case at all. I think there's some forgetfulness. I think there's some discomfort. I'll grant everybody that. I know that 99% of the time when students see me coming down the hall, they immediately adjust their mask. And one of the things I ask is can you just please pretend that I am everywhere? And, I appreciate that they adjust for me, but I need them to adjust for everyone. So, we'll continue to work on it. We make an announcement every single morning asking students to wear their masks appropriately. So that is a challenge, and one that we'll just continue to deal with. And it's a challenge that exists in every high school. I'm on a meeting with other high school principals in Nassau County, so somewhere between 20 to 50 other high school principals about once a month, and everybody reports the exact same challenges, getting kids to wear masks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like other years, we had some last minute challenges in terms of staffing, but we are staffed appropriately right now, and that is a relief. I know it seems really unfortunate, and it is, but there are always last minute challenges as it relates to a variety of issues that they impact all of us, things that we can't anticipate. And so we work hard to try and find teachers as fast as we can to come in and fill in. So right now we are fully staffed and happy about that. Yesterday, I sent home a letter just really advising parents about a program. We'd already talked about it and then sent information home about it, but this it was a more deliberate reminder about a program we're running for all of our 9th and 10th grade students with our new school counselor, Vanessa Garcia. And this is really a yes and yes. So the program is really built on a couple of foundational pieces. One is, there is research being done all around the country on social and emotional well-being of teenagers. The rise in all sorts of issues that relate to mental health, including but not limited to anxiety. And we see it here every day. And again, there is data to support it all around the country. In addition to that, the district was engaged in a committee to produce something called the Portrait of a Graduate, which is really how we imagine, like, what do we want students, what skills do we want them to have, who do we want our students to be after they complete not just Schreiber, but the entire K-12 experience. And part of that Portrait of a Graduate, I mean, I don't think it would surprise anybody if we decided right now as a group to say, what do we want our students to be good at when they leave? What do we want? What skills we want them to have? We probably wouldn't talk about their transcripts. And that doesn't appear on Portrait of a Graduate. Instead, I have it in front of me. We have things like acquire social emotional intelligence and a growth mindset. That's one of the things we want students to be able to do, to have after they graduate. We want our students to be resilient. But of course, we discovered that while we want these things, we weren't necessarily going right at them for students. And I'll give you another example. We knew that students at Schreiber and everywhere else, but at Schreiber experience a lot of stress. Some of it, who knows where it comes from, but that there is a lot of students trying to cope with stress. And we know that many students have coping mechanisms already in place and some don't. And so our first session with 9th graders was about stress management. And through that session, we were able to get students to share with each other their stress management coping mechanisms and then build the toolbox for other students who may not have those mechanisms in place. These meetings will take place 4 times in the course of a year. And it'll be for 1 period each quarter. And they'll be in groups of 50. And so that's why we sent it out. We will make it so that students don't miss the same class twice in each of the 4 sessions. We've only gone through 1 9th grade session. We decided to send out this letter in a more deliberate attempt and to put it on student schedules because we noted that we missed about 70 to 80 9th graders in our first go round. And we missed them because, well, some made a choice not to attend, which was not our intention. We actually think this is valuable for everyone. And that's why we decided, you know what, let's put it on their schedules and let's make sure that parents understand that this is something that we're doing. So if it should come up at home, well, we want you to be aware of it. Our 9th graders that did attend, we got positive feedback from. So we're grateful for that. By the way, 49% of those 9th graders did report feeling high levels of stress. Now, I don't know if high level of stress is a relative term. And I don't know what they were feeling before, but it is a good data point for us to start with. And the more often that these meetings take place, the larger our data set gets to grow, which we can then report back to the rest of our school counselors so that they can be prepared for what students may be coping with. And eventually we can get this information back to teachers and we can see, does this lead to a change in any of our other practices? And so we think, again, the data is important, the meetings are important, and we hope that this is something that we can continue to grow as time goes on. I'm just going to empty some of this. Yes, to the orchestra teacher on maternity leave, and we have somebody starting today. So the question is, could we do this during free periods? That's going to happen by chance. So here's what we avoid when we do things like this. We avoid lunch periods. We are a school that believes strongly that students should have lunch periods. We want them to choose whether or not. We have many students who choose not to eat. That's not necessarily our choice, that's their choice. Our lunch periods are only 30 minutes in length. We've constructed a session that's designed to last up to an hour. So we avoid lunch periods. So that's 3-1, 4-1, and 4-2. That's a big section of our day. Plus, we use the auditorium as an overflow area for the limited space in our cafeteria. So that leaves us, generally speaking, with periods 1, 2, 5, and 6 to get things done. When we do assemblies, we generally avoid periods 1 and 6 because we have lots of students who don't have class periods 1 and 6. So that drills us down into periods 2 and 5. I'm giving you like way more information as to how assembly programs get run. This is like forever, pre-COVID, it'll be post-COVID. This is how we do it. Periods 2 and 5 tend to be the most commonly scheduled classes for periods for classes for all students. So this is why we end up in periods 2 and 5. It would be very difficult for us to schedule, only using free periods. While many students do have free periods, some do not. So that's what makes it problematic. Try a recommended summary, not required. But we did free. I'm sorry, I'm skipping through. We did require reading for a long time, and we had long conversations about some years ago, we had one text, and we would require, I'm going to wrap that in quotes, we would require our students to read a single text as they prepared for 9th grade English or 10th grade English, and so on and so forth. And what we found was, well, everybody wasn't reading it. And no matter how much we required it, it still didn't lead to everybody reading it. And so assessing it afterwards created all sorts of problems. So then we moved to students required to read, and we allowed for a selection of texts. And we found the same problem, that students weren't necessarily reading. We also are a school that has lots of student movement in the first couple of weeks of school as it relates to changing classes, particularly for upper grades. And so that meant we were having difficulty getting kids to read required texts and then assessing it. So we moved to a recommended model. Again, I would argue that much of what we do is, I think we would admit is imperfect. I don't know that anything is ever perfect. And so I'm happy to revisit a model for recommended reading. Again, I start by saying I'm a parent too. And so I get to watch my own kids with their required reading material. My daughter, who's taking AP literature as a senior, sent me, as it was like a week to go until school started, she sent me the list for that, again, was required, but it was just select one of these texts. She sent me the text, wanted my opinion. I gave her the opinion. She bought the book. She bought the wrong book. Just so you know what happens in the Pernick household as well. We scrambled, and she'd kill me if I told you, right? What do you think we found is that, there were shortcuts, and so, we want to figure out a way in which we can do something that's meaningful. And so, figuring out what's meaningful is hard, but requiring doesn't automatically make it meaningful, is what we've found. So again, but we're happy to revisit it, and see what happens. You wanted to ask a question? You're muted.
I just wanted to chime in. I have 3 boys, 2 8th graders and a 10th grader. And for one of my 8th graders, it was the only book he read this summer. And I think he actually loves to read. He's not inclined to. I think they're at that teen age where they may be a little bit oppositional at times, or they think that reading is something that old people do. But in the end, he read a true story, which I think he was very engaged with. And the requirement was a benefit. My 10th grader did not read any books because he's of the same mindset. But if he had to read a book, he would have, and it would have benefited him. So I think giving them a choice is an excellent thing. I think it catapults them into a writing assignment right away. I don't think it's a bad thing to even require that certain questions be answered that they could bring to the classroom on day 1. So as a mom of 3 boys, it would be greatly appreciated to have that assignment during the summer and to bring them back into that mode. And, one of my twins read about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So they could find something, in a category where they might have interest. The other one read about a plot to kill Hitler, which was a true story. So it's all a benefit. I think, again, it puts them in a certain mindset. And I would love to see that implemented again. I think I've spoken to other mothers of boys, and they feel the same way. There's a lot of frustration that they can't get their kids to read. So this is a way to help us, get them into that mode.
Thank you for that. For the record, I think we help each other. I appreciate sometimes, people want the school to be the cudgel for some of this. I do appreciate that. Sometimes we want you to be the cudgel to get kids to read. I get that it's a struggle. These are decisions that we don't arrive at easily or with haste, right? This comes from years of collecting our own data internally to say how many students are doing the work. It's hard to measure things like valuable experience. I don't know how we determine if it's a valuable experience. I don't know how we determine if it's meaningful. We don't even know how to determine if students are actually reading the book. So it poses all sorts of challenges for us, but I'm happy to revisit it. We
And I
talk
can
about
only
it all.
say from my experience, my boys read the books cover to cover. They enjoyed them. They knew they had to do it, so they did it. And, given my mini survey with some local moms, I think they chimed in, they would get their kids to read, but it can't be simply recommended because anything optional won't be done.
Well, again, I appreciate the feedback. And so, like I said, we revisit it often, so we're happy to revisit it again. And we'll see what the outcome is.
I appreciate it.
Certainly.
So I have a question. I'm sorry, just going back
Okay.
to that whole stress management thing and resiliency.
Yes.
I think that is such a home run because we're in the college application process now. We're in a little bit different situation because Michael's like having the whole like baseball recruitment thing. And of course, obviously that coincides with different applications. I think that there's always that special section, like if you, in the applications, and if we wanted to take a whole other separate conversation, I'd be happy to share what we're learning. There's a special section on many of the different college applications where you can add your own comments, and the admissions counselors are very interested to hear how, but you can't just make it up. It's got to be real, and it has to be like your essay. It has to coincide with your story. Like if you felt that you thrived during COVID and you were, really harnessed remote learning, or you really felt like I could have not gotten a C in math, because if I were in school, I would have different in-person extra help, and it was really hard. So I think the kids have to get that message, because my oldest and my middle, his are all different. My oldest, like her cohort, they started obsessing about if they got in like a 90 on a test in 8th grade, they're like, oh, I'm not getting into my #1 school. I mean, that's just the that's just the environment that we live in. And, so I think there's all different levels of stress and resiliency. I mean, some kids like thrive in that, they put their own stress on, they have their own goals, but we have to be careful on what we're imposing upon our kids. But if anybody's worried, even the 11th graders, like they have their own story, because that's all they know is, they went from middle school, the adjustment from middle school, I don't care who you are, middle school to 9th grade, unless you're superhuman, it's hard. So 9th grade is an adjustment. So these kids came into school in 9th grade, and their year was different. Every year had their challenges. And I don't think we're going to not see the effects on these kids, like mentally, academically. It's going to be years, and the admissions counselors really, really know this. So I would encourage anybody just to not be afraid to have that relationship and ask the right questions, and tell your kids to like document it, because it's going to be their story, not our story to tell. We can encourage them, but it really has to be their own words. And if they're really sincere, you can help them preemptively manage their stress, and let them know that maybe they fell in a class, or, the last 2 years, that it's not going to be the end all, and you can help them navigate that. I'd be more than happy to talk offline if anybody wants to reach out to me, because it's been a completely different process with my senior now than my other two. And the colleges are willing to hear your story. So it's not over if they didn't perform at the top of their game. And that's a really important thing to tell these kids, because the conversations they're having amongst themselves, there's a lot of pressure in Schreiber to get into the school. We're a sweatshirt and bumper, I don't care, we're a sweatshirt and bumper sticker town. And it's not over if they didn't get a 4.5 weighted, so it'll be okay.
I just want to point out there's a lot of stress everywhere. Schreiber's not owning all the stress. That's a shared piece. But thank you, Dawn. I do get stopped by parents all the time and asking for my opinion about, if my child drops this class, is it going to impact their college acceptance, to X school? And, I think we all have to start to ask different questions and then give different answers. And so one of the answers that I give is that, we can't predict the future, and we don't exactly know, how the college application process works. Like, we're not really sure. There's a bit of a shroud of secrecy about college admissions, and like kind of like all the ingredients and how they come together to make the sauce. I start asking parents, like, how does your child feel today? Is your child stressed? Are they losing sleep because they're in this course? Are they coming home unhappy every day? Like, instead of looking to the future all the time, we should spend some time looking into the present and seeing how our kids are feeling. Because none of us want our kids to get into the school of their dreams, but go there anxious. None of us want that. We want our children to be happy and have coping mechanisms. And so I think, we need to spend more time thinking about that. Sorry, I got a lot of things happening at one time. Okay, hold on. I want to go back. Yes, all the sessions as of right now are the 9th and 10th grade sessions are by last name. We need an organizational structure to have these meetings. We are capping them at 50 students per session. If we allowed students to sign up, we would automatically end up being, excluding kids, or kids could choose not to sign up. I've gotten emails this morning from parents telling me that they're not going to send their children to these meetings which is tough for a mandatory meeting. So we just can't structure like that. If we were targeting a particular subset of a grade and aiming at a smaller number, maybe we could do something like that. And by the way, it might change over time, right? We are collecting information as to the success of this program as it happens, and we'll make adjustments over time to see what works. As I said at the start on this topic, we've had one complete go round with one grade. And we collected data as to how many students missed. And so we made an adjustment. We talked about not using an alphabetical organization or strict alpha organization, but we didn't talk about letting kids sign up during their free periods. These only run at scheduled periods. It's not like they run every period of the day. These sessions run, generally speaking, periods 2 and 5, and only on specific days. It takes Ms. Garcia about a week to have enough sessions to run through an entire grade level. And so generally 2 weeks to run through 2 grade levels. All right, okay. Mr. Class, like Jim had. How does a child make up gym? Is the question specifically to that? Make up gym, Kathy? Or any class?
So the specific question was from a parent about gym. The Aspen just mentioned the gym. So that was a specific parent question.
Yeah, so the first thing to do is to ask their phys ed teacher. That we run makeup classes at the end of each quarter all the time, and students will make it up. Remember that the physical education is a class that can't be generally made up with work, right? You know, math class, there's homework assigned, there are other assignments. Phys ed is a participatory activity, and so generally speaking, kids go to other phys ed classes on their free periods or before school. But the phys ed department will announce when all those classes take place. This should start with talking to the phys ed teacher. Yes, we had a couple of students from another high school come up on campus. They were looking for a 9th grade student. They did not find him. They did not enter the building. They were on the bleachers right by the track. The security to get onto campus, if you drive up to campus, I would note how security works. And there are lots of ways to get on this campus on foot. And we have 6 security guards on a perfect day meaning that we don't have to send a security guard to another school because of absence from another school. So at our full capacity, we are at 6. And it's so it can be challenging to staff every single entry point to the campus. You know, that's the best explanation I have for security to get onto campus. I don't know how these students entered. I don't know if they walked up Campus Drive or if they came in through Bogart or if they came on through St. John's Gate. I'm not really sure how they arrived. But there are lots of ways, and it's difficult for us to have people stationed at all of them. I don't think we have enough. Adrian, is this a comment about this issue?
It is.
Okay.
If people who aren't supposed to be on campus are find themselves on campus, are they asked to leave? What's the procedure? Someone comes on campus and they're not supposed to be.
Well, I mean, that's a little general, like we have parents who come up to campus who aren't supposed to be. No, if they're not a visitor, they're a trespasser. We call the police.
Right, like these students, were they asked to leave?
We call the police.
Okay.
And they left on their own, and then the police found and detained them on Main Street. And by the way, when we get more information about them, as we did, we also call their school. We send them a letter that's a trespass letter that advises them if they should come onto our campus again. We send this to their homes, that we will have them arrested.
Right.
Yeah, no, we take it, pretty seriously.
That was just the part of the puzzle that I thought everyone should hear, because you said they were on the bleachers and not not faulting you, just saying, I'm like, so what happened then? Tell me the rest of the story. Good to know.
Yes.
I'll only come when invited.
Thank you. Actually, so in response to not having a class and if teachers could communicate their absence, we actually asked teachers not to do that. It had been a practice here for a very long time. But in the last few years, we have permanent subs that are substitute teachers that report here every day who get assigned to cover different classes. And I do the assignments at the start of every day about 7:30 in the morning. And we've had too many occasions where teachers have alerted students that their classes aren't going to meet. Students don't show, and we've assigned a sub to that class, and we expect the class to meet. So, this issue is really one of building management and how we want to go about running the school. And I understand that means that there are going to be times when there are classes canceled and students could have slept later. We are not a college campus, and I don't think we should seek to become a college campus. So, colleges would generally run in that way more likely than we would. And so, yeah, we actually want teachers not to make those communications. There should be a schedule for extra help up on our website. If not, it will be there shortly. I suggest to everyone that students should talk directly to their teachers or send an email directly to their teachers. And they should say things like, I need extra help. Most of the departments will run some extra help that allows for students to meet with any teacher in their department, especially math, for example. So if we have occasion where a child's schedule and their teacher's schedule just don't align, but the teacher knows that this other teacher also teaches geometry or algebra 2 or pre-calc or whatever the subject is, and so they'll make that connection. So I absolutely recommend starting with the teacher. And students can absolutely reach out to Ms. Garcia if they want more about that. She also meets with students individually and in smaller groups. I recommend, make the connection with Ms. Garcia through that first meeting or two. And then, wait till, she'll dismiss the group. And, somebody stays back always, right? There is always a student who is the last to leave. This is true in every classroom. This is true in every assembly we ever run. And oftentimes the student who chooses to be last, oftentimes they have something else they want to share. So I definitely recommend it. And then, how to file a report. You posted the report it. Is that what that page is? We sent that out yesterday as well. Yes, reportit.com is an anonymous reporting system. We've been using this system for many years, and we're really proud of it. We've gotten lots of good information over the years that has allowed us to intervene before things happen. Sometimes, it's after that's if that's what happens, that's fine. But it is truly anonymous. There is one, if you report it through the app, then we have the ability to ask one question back to the reporter, but it doesn't mean we know who the reporter is. It just means we can ask for clarifying information. Sometimes the reports that we received one actually during this meeting this morning, it just didn't have any information. It said drugs and alcohol, and it didn't give us anything else to go on. We weren't even sure what the complaint was. So we can write one thing back saying, could you please give us some more information, and then they can respond. But it is pure anonymous reporting, and it is effective. And we just wanted to make sure that everybody knew how to use it. So hence our email. Thank you for reminding me about Report It last night. And other than my one question that I have for Dawn, that would be my report for today. Dawn, Gamble 2022 apparel. senior apparel.
Yes.
Is that in the works? We'd be happy to help.
Yes, we need help. I actually have, because we got a little late start this year, just to typically they know who the co-chairs are.
Right.
Probably May the year before. We didn't really know we were doing this until Labor Day-ish. The apparel is in the works. We've already been in touch with Arena. We're trying to minimize having inventory on hand because that's always challenging because we can't really sell in person at open house where traditionally. So I think last year we had a lot of stuff. They had a lot of stuff left over, but we are definitely doing it. I actually have to talk to Miss Anesis because she wants to do, so it is in the works. We're getting, we have our best people on it. So we'll have more information shortly.
Great. Great. We look forward to it. I look forward to buying my own class of 2022 apparel. So thank you.
Me too. I like the pajamas and the bumper stickers.
All of it. All of it's
Car
good.
magnets.
All of it's good.
I know.
All right, Kathy and Adrian, back to you. Thank you so much. And, we'll keep doing this.
Yeah, great start. And then everyone tune
Thank
into
you.
the Coffees with Dr. Pernick because he has generously donated his time like once a week. It feels like it's a lot. So please, if you have questions, come to those meetings. That's really a great place to join for questions. And then just to wrap up, I want to be really respectful of everyone's time. It's 10 o'clock. We do have a bunch of community events to just remind you of. Agate has a morning coffee that's really special that's coming up. Let me just find out when that is really quickly. We also have this Sunday, there's a fundraiser for Spectrum, which is one of the really great local organizations that works with kids with autism. And the Agate coffee is just this Friday at 10 a.m. So if you are not familiar with that organization, then definitely look them up. When we have our new website, it'll be one link away. And we do have a couple of other community things. Adrian, what else do we have coming up? We have, the picture day on Monday for the underclass. That's a important day. Monday and Tuesday are picture days. So everyone spread the word.
Everyone should check their HSA newsletter because everything is in there, even stuff that Kathy and I don't remember. We work really hard on it. It's got everything. Yeah. Unity Day is next Wednesday.
Yes.
Check your newsletter. You all have it. And if you're not getting the newsletter, let us know. How do you know the picture day is Monday? It's undergrad picture day. So it's underclassmen, not seniors, because seniors already took their pictures, and picture retakes for seniors will be announced by Mrs. Baglio soon, but
Patty,
not yet.
it's alphabetical, I think, the same system. So if you're a kid, I think if you look on
No, it's in English class.
it's in the English classes. It's
Yes.
done by English classes.
It says that in the new. Everyone needs to read their newsletter, people. I don't need to tell everybody.
read the
I know you
newsletter.
read it, Kathy.
I should read
But
the
everybody else, read your newsletter. Underclass photo day, Monday, the 18th, Tuesday, the 19th, the link to order and the picture day ID are in your HSA newsletter. Students will go with their English class. They may not have it on Monday, if they have it on Tuesday, because English is a 4x6. Look, I know lingo. It only took me 2 years. You will get it too. So those are underclass photo days. I know that seniors, Patty, were you asking about senior? No, you're asking about, okay. So English class, and they have to wear it all day. Oh, one other thing, there are no, it's hands off, especially with, the masks. If your child needs a comb, tell them to put a comb in their bag. They will not be giving combs. It is not middle school or elementary school. We used to hand out the whatever, well, you have your phone for the mirror, and if you need a brush or a comb or something, because just remember, bathrooms are not going to be available as readily as they used to be. So think ahead and help your kids. All right, I'm done. Off soapbox.
Yeah, and then thank you, Patty. The Ed Foundation is having their Unprogressive Dinner in connection with the cooking lab on the 29th. So please sign up. The Ed Foundation is literally the core of how we do everything in this community school-wise. So please sign up with the Ed Foundation. They're doing an Unprogressive Dinner with cooking lab. It's so worth it. It's a worthy cause. And even if you can't make that on the 29th, just donate, because the Ed Foundation is responsible for dancing classrooms in elementary schools, for the cool television studio and podcasting studio we have at Schreiber, like so many great things. The ruler program came out of Ed Foundation. So that is the 29th. Please check the information on the edfoundation.org website so you can participate. And then we'll see you Sunday at the band shell because it's a day of music. We're having a fundraiser from 3 to like 7, I think, or 3 to 8. And it's all music, live music, local music, really fun, just free, but by donation for Spectrum. Any other questions? Otherwise, let's sign off. We're 5 minutes after 10, so that's not terrible for our first meeting. Everyone ready to say goodbye now? Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Talia. Thank you, Executive Committee. We'll see you in January. The next HSA meeting is in January, so we'll see you then.
Thanks, Kathy.
Talk to you later 10 times. So bye.
Bye.
I know,
No
bye.
problem.
Bye, everybody. Have a great week.